they can at least watch it later. So session is being recorded. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen with you all and just kind of show you what it is I'm looking at here. Okay, so let me see. Yes, okay, you guys can see this now. Okay, so guys, the first tab here is just kind of like some general information, course description here. So let's see. So this is all about our class right here. It's got some interesting, you know, just like course description, what the class is about, all that kind of good stuff. And then there is another one. I'm not sure why it's not popping up. I probably just need to fix it on my end. Just a little bit of information about myself. Let's see. This is the welcome video. So this is one that I had posted, and it kind of going through the same thing that I'm going through now. It's kind of telling you what each of the tabs stand for. Let's see, the syllabus. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the syllabus right here, y'all. And it actually opens up in a new window. So I'm going to share that with you guys so y'all can see it. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. And give me 1 second. Okay, here it is. So it's popping up for us now. So I know a couple of y'all had messaged me and saying, you know, when do we meet? Because it just says online. So that's right. The class is an online class. You don't necessarily have like daily meetings, y'all. It's just the way the course is set up is everything is set up so you guys can go ahead and get started. So course description, it's the same thing that I had in that other tab. And here's all my contact information. So it does have my office location, guys, but we're not going in right now. I did create a Google number, so if you guys need anything, feel free to give me a call. And it's going to ring on my iPhone, but just, you know, call me regular business hours or whatever. And then there's my email address. And then, so guys, for our class, every Tuesday morning from 10:30 to 11:30, I'm going to log in here, okay? And I'm going to send you guys reminders like, hey, you know, just don't forget, y'all, I'm having a class session tomorrow if y'all want to sign in. So I'm going to, like today, obviously, I'm just kind of going over some basic information with the class. But every Tuesday, I'm going to, you know, take some time answering any kind of questions you guys might have. And I'm going to cover a little bit of material. Let's see. So my other office hours, guys. So on Mondays and Thursdays, I have office hours in the afternoon from 5 to 5:30. And then Tuesday, I have office hours right before our session, and Wednesday from 10 to 11. So during these times, guys, I'm not necessarily on Blackboard Collaborate because I do have other classes as well, and I can only log into one session at a time. But I'm going to be available for you guys to either call me or you can message me on Pronto. And if you need some help, we can log into Blackboard. Just let me know. But the best way to kind of get in contact with me is to send me a message on the Pronto app. Okay. And then there's some other information about, you know, general stuff about the class. Let's see. So homework, guys, for the grades. The homework average is 20%. Quiz average 20%. We're going to have a midterm, which is going to cover chapters 1 and 2. That's 25%. The final exam is another 25. And then we're going to have a couple of written class assignments, and I'll let you know when we're going to have them. The first one will be next week. And also, I'm going to talk to you all about like how you can submit them to me and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. Let's see. So I know this is a dual enrollment class, so the Mac High should have given you all an access code so that you can sign up for my lab. That's really what you need. You just need the access code, and I'm going to kind of walk you through the process today with, you know, what it is you need to do. Let's see. So I think I sent y'all a message last night, y'all. I think I did. I may not have sent it to y'all. I know I sent it to my other classes, but I will check right now to see if I sent it to you all as well. Yes, I did. Okay, so I use this calculator app, guys, called Graph and Calc 83. It's free. So if you don't have it on your iPhone or your Android, you can definitely download them from the App Store or Google Play. And it's just like having a TI-84, okay? So I highly recommend that you use it. I mean, if you want to use regular calculator, that's great as well. When students message me like, sir, you know what, I got stuck on problem number 11. Can you help me with it? I'm going to use that app, okay, because I have it on my iPad and I'm making a little video kind of walking you all through the process. So you'll see using that app, and that's why I kind of recommend doing it. It's just kind of easy to follow along. Let's see. There's just some basic information here, guys. I'll let you all read through this when you get a chance. And then I'm going to kind of scroll down way down here at the bottom. So, guys, our class is, it's a short semester, right? We started yesterday on June 7th, and we're done on July the 8th. So we got basically one for our class. So anyway, just giving you a heads up, I kind of put like what we're going to be doing each week. So you can see at the beginning of the third week, we have our midterm, right? So basically 2 weeks from now. And then we're going to be taking our exams, guys, on something called Microsoft Teams. It's kind of like, it's pretty much just like Zoom. It's just through Microsoft, okay? And so I'm going to have 2 sessions set up for our midterm exam. So one of them is going to be on Monday, June 21st at 10:30, and the other one's on Tuesday, June 27th at 6:30 in the afternoon. So depending if, I don't know if any of you all are working right now, but if you are, you want to make sure that you're available one of those 2 days, right? You don't have to be available both of them. It's just, those are the 2 different times I'll be testing. You're just going to pick one of them. And so what I'm going to do is we get closer to the midterm, I'm going to send out a link on Google Spreadsheet, and I'm going to say, hey, here's the first session. It's Monday, June 21st at 10:30. And if you want to take the test on this time, just put your name under this little kind of column, right? And if you decide you want to take it on the 22nd at 6:30, then you'll write your name on that column, right? Obviously you're not going to do both, right? Just whichever one you want to do. And then I'll have the same thing set up for our final exam, okay? There's the 2 dates down here. So anyway, that's pretty much what the syllabus looks like. Let me stop sharing this screen and come back to our course page. So let's see, where are we? All right, here we go. So that's how I got to the syllabus, was just by clicking that link. The contact info, guys, it's just the same thing that was in the syllabus in terms of my office hours. So there's my Google number, here's my email. And then, like I said, 10:30, 11:30 on Blackboard Collaborate, and then these are my other office hours, right? Let's see. Okay, so here's the Pronto Instant Messenger. You can click on this, and you'll be able to see all the messages there. The only reason I recommend that you either put it on your phone or like on your tablet is just so that you see the messages, right? Like it comes up just like a messaging app. This way you'll see them immediately. And so, again, I'll be sending, I usually send a lot of messages through Pronto. It's just an easy way of communicating with everybody. And like I said, y'all, if y'all have questions, you can send me questions about anything. You can put it in like our group thread, or you can message me directly. So, and I made a mention this in the welcome video, but a lot of my students will get stuck on a homework problem, and so they'll message me, just me directly. They won't put it necessarily in the group one, but you can if you want to. And they'll say something like, hey, sir, you know what, I was doing my homework and I got stuck on problem number 7. Can you help me out here? And I'll go and I'll get that problem. I'll put it on my iPad. I'll make a video of me working out the problem, and I'm kind of talking you all through the process. And then I upload it to YouTube, and I send that link to everybody. And I'll just say, hey, you know what? One of our classmates had a question, and so here's a video of the problem. And this way, everybody gets a chance to see it, because if one person has a question on number 7 on whatever section we're talking about, chances are at least another 4 or 5 people have that same question, right? And you may not have gotten to that problem yet, but if you take a look at the video, you'll say, you know what, I'm glad I got this video, because I don't know if I would have been able to figure out how to do this problem without it, right? So I highly encourage you all to ask me questions when you get stuck. I'm here to help you guys. Let's see, weekly activity folder. So guys, if I click on this one right here, right now I have everything for week 1 set up. So when I click on this folder here, you can see everything in the week 1 folder. So first thing y'all want to do, guys, is set up the MyLab and master an account. So I have the video right here on how you can do that. So if you haven't done it yet, you definitely want to do that. You want to click on the MyLab account, which is right here. That's going to be your first step. Let me come back over here real quick. And then, like I said, the school should have given you guys an access code. So when you're setting up for the class, you're going to type in the access code, and you want to type it in exactly as they have it, guys. So when they have it set up for you all, that's going to be your process, okay? Making sure that you type in the code exactly as you see it. Let's see, what else do we have? And then I told you all about the Pronto messaging app. And then guys, for the notes, so the notes are right here. If you click on this link right here, it takes you to Google Docs. And you don't necessarily, I wouldn't recommend printing it out because it's just a lot. But you can definitely, access the notes right there. And so I have the notes for section 7.7 in chapter 1, and I also have them for chapter 2 right here. And then down here, guys, all the videos that we have for this class, I made them myself. And it's me walking you all through how to go through these notes, right? And so I put all the videos in a playlist. Everything is set up for you guys to go ahead and get started. And the videos are in order, right? And I talk you through the process so that you know exactly what it is you need to do. Excuse me. And so all the videos are there. And then in my lab, the assignments are already set for you guys as well, okay? So I set up all the assignments for you. There's quite a few assignments here, guys, if you notice, but they're not due until June 15th, which is a week from tonight, right? And they're due by basically by midnight, right? And then you also have one quiz as well that's due. And so, guys, for the quiz, there's a time limit on it, but you've got an hour and a half, right? It's 90 minutes to do, I don't know, I think it's 8, 9, 10 questions, something like that. So you got some time to do the quiz. And if you're happy with your grade, you'll get your grade right away once you complete the assignment. But if you're happy with your grade, you don't need to do anything else. If you're not happy with your grade, you get a second shot, so you get to do it again, okay? And then whichever grade is higher is the one that I'm going to use when we're computing average, okay? So if you take it the first time and you make, I don't know, a 65, and then you take it and do it again and you get a 60, well, we're going to use the 65 as your average, right? So don't worry about like what happens if I do worse the second time. We always go with the better of the two. Let's see, what else do I want to show you? Okay, so then here's the My Lab Mastering link. And then the other thing here, guys, is the tutoring services. So again, I always encourage you, ask me questions. I'm here to help you guys. So I want to make sure you're all doing okay. But if you need to access the tutoring services through STC, there's a link right here that tells you what their hours are and all that kind of good information. And then you guys get a chance to evaluate me as your instructor. But this is towards the end of the semester, probably the last 2 weeks is when I open them up. And once they do, I'll let you guys know for sure, okay? So let me see. I'm going to share one more thing with you guys before we keep moving. So let me stop sharing this here. And let me see. Okay, click on this one. All right. So let me see. All right. So guys, one thing I was going to show you guys is, here we go. Okay, so we're coming back to the home page here. So once you get set up in My Lab, once you create your account and you click on this link, let me show you where it's going to take you guys, okay? It's going to take you, there we go, right here into My Lab, okay? And so when I'm here in My Lab, if I click right here, y'all, on assignments, then I'm going to see all the assignments that I have. So if you notice, here's 7.7, 1.4, right? And all these assignments, if you look right here on the left side, guys, you can see they're all due by the 15th at midnight, right? All of them right here are due by the 15th at midnight. So guys, like I said earlier, when you're doing the videos, like if I was sitting where you're sitting, I would watch the video for 7.7, kind of follow along with the notes, and then I would do this one section, right? I would do this assignment. And then I would watch the next video for 1.4 and follow along with the notes, and then I would do this assignment, right? I would kind of do one video, one assignment. You know, I don't think it's a good idea to watch, I don't know, what is this right here? Like 5, 6 videos and then try to go and do all the assignments in one setting. I think it's just too much, right? Do a little bit at a time, and I think that's going to work better for everybody. But again, you know, and when do you do this? This is the part that we all have to decide as individuals, because it's an online class. You basically get to decide, when am I going to do this, right? Am I going to do this afternoon? Am I going to do it tomorrow? Am I going to wait till Sunday, right? You got a lot of options. One thing I always recommend my students, y'all, is it's better to get ahead than to kind of fall behind, right? So if you find yourself next Tuesday and the only thing you've done is the first 2 sections, these are all due by midnight that night, that's going to be a lot of stuff to do in one day, right? So I definitely do not encourage y'all doing anything like that. I would much rather like finish this by, I don't know, Friday or something, and say, sir, what do I do now? I'm already done. And then, you know, kind of get behind a little bit. Let's see. So I've been doing a whole lot of talking. And before we go on, I want to ask you guys, do y'all have any questions that you want to ask me about anything? Anything at all? Don't be shy, guys. You can turn on your mic. You can put it in the chat box. It's really up to y'all. Anyone got any questions? No? Y'all sure?
No, sir.
Now y'all are good? So guys, let me ask you a question. How many of y'all have had experience with online classes through STC? You can put it in the chat box if you want to. You can just put me. Yeah, so Anthony, the notes, you don't have to submit those, right? These assignments here in my lab are basically all the assignments you're going to have. And like I said, next week you're going to have a written assignment, and I'm going to give you guys all the information on how you can complete that and how you're going to submit it and all that kind of good stuff. But the notes are just for you guys. But excellent question. So let's see. How many of you all have had So you can just say something like me, and you can just do something like that, guys, if you want to, if you don't want to turn on your mic. Anybody? Anybody had any online classes experience with STC? Okay, so you have done some, just not here at STC? Okay. With STC? Oh, okay. So guys, let me ask you a question. For everybody here, is this your first online class with STC? Yeah. Okay. Okay, awesome. Good. Okay, so let me ask you a question, because I want to, guys, my objective here is to make sure that you guys feel okay. Do you all feel like you have an understanding of how you need to do, like what it is you need to do, like where you can find the videos and where you can find the notes and how you can get to the assignments? Do y'all feel like you can do? So let's do it this way. Do you know where to find the videos for our class? So let's do that first. Let's see. Okay, so far I'm getting a whole lot of guesses. So guys, I'm going to do something real quick here. I just want to make sure that we are good on this right here. Okay, so I think it's popping up again. Here we go. Okay, so guys, when you click on the weekly activities folder and you click on week 1, and you click right here where it says the YouTube playlist, this is going to pop open, and I'm going to share that screen with you guys so y'all can see that one as well. And let's see, here we go. And okay, so you can click on the play all and it'll play them in order, but you can see like here's 7.7, here's 1.4. Now, guys, again, these are all videos that I made myself, okay? So every one of these videos, I made them. It's me talking you all through the process, but everything you see here is all of my videos, okay? So I have everything for the entire class all set up for you nice and pretty. Okay, so now we know where the videos are. Let's go to the next question, which is, let's see. Do you know where you can find the notes? I'm going to stop sharing the screen real quick. And let's see. Okay, so guys, again, right here, if I click on this one, it's going to open up the notes for me. And just to give you a heads up again, I'm going to stop sharing this part. And I'm going to share one more. Oh, where is it? Right here. And it opens up the notes for me, right? And then if you want to, guys, you can just click on open it with Google Docs, whatever it is you want to do, or you can just scroll like this, right? It's really entirely up to you. There's no, it's all good. And then the last thing is, let's see, awesome, good. I'm glad this is working out for y'all. I just want to make sure that you guys are good with everything. And let's see, how do I get to my assignments? And you find your assignments in my lab. And so let's see. Good, perfect. I just really wanted to make sure that you guys are okay with this stuff here. And so again, guys, when you're here on our content page and you click on the My Lab and Mastering Home link, once you click this link here, it is going to send you here to My Lab, and it'll take you here to, let me put it so y'all, this is what it looks like from your perspective. And if you just kind of scroll down, you can see the assignments right here, right? You can see them here, or you can click on assignments, and they'll all be right here. And again, guys, the one thing I really wanted to mention is you'll always know what the due dates are by looking over here on the left side, right? And so on the same token, if I make a mistake, if I say, hey, guys, everything is due on the 15th, and you notice one of them here says something like the 13th, reach out to me and say, sir, I think you put the wrong due date on the assignment, and I'll, I'm good with that. I'll go in and I'll fix in whatever I need to fix, okay? All right, so what I want to do now, y'all, is I just want to get you all, I want to give you all a little experience of how it is I teach, right? So that you can kind of get an idea and of what it is I'm doing. So let me stop sharing this screen right here. And I'm going to share, here we go. So all I did, y'all, is I opened up our course notes, and I opened up in OneNote because OneNote allows me to write on my screen. But these are the same notes that I accessed right through Google Docs. So what I want to do this afternoon, or this morning, I'm sorry, is go through a little bit of 7.7. And so the first thing I have here are complex numbers. And before we talk about complex numbers, we have to talk a little bit about imaginary numbers, right? So there's this thing called imaginary numbers, and we call it the number I. And this is how we define it. We say that I is equal to the square root of -1, and that I squared is equal to -1. And it says the set of imaginary numbers consists of the numbers of the form BI, okay? Where B is a real number, but it's not going to be equal to 0. And so then the next definition says for all positive real numbers A, the square root of -A. Okay, we can break this up into the square root of -1 times the square root of A, and that's going to be equal to I times the square root of A. Okay, and so so now the next part here says let's express this in terms of I. So the way I'm gonna kind of go through it like in a slow motion way, and then I'll kind of show you a little bit faster. So when I think about the square root of -25, I can think about this as the square root of -1 times the square root of 25. Okay? Well, I know what the square root of 25 is already, right? We know that that's 5. The square root of -1, that's what we call I. So this here, I'm just going to replace it with an I, and I'm done. 5I, right? So this is a way how I'm kind of doing it, like breaking it down. But the other way I can think about this, if there's a negative on the inside, I already automatically know an I is going to come out. And then I might say, well, what's the square root of 100? The square root of 100 is 10. So my answer here is going to be 10I. Okay? Let's see. For the next one here, the square root of -50. Well, there's a negative on the inside, so I already know I'm going to have an I. Now, when I think about 50, I know that 50 is the same thing as 25 and 2. Okay? And I already know what the square root of 25 is. The square root of 25 is 5. Okay? I have an I, so I'm going to put my I. Now, this is the number that I can't break down, so I'm just going to write it right next door to it. So we have 5I times the square root of 2. Okay. All right, I'm going to do the same thing here for this next one. So there's a negative on the inside, so I already know I'm going to have an I. And the square root of 81 is 9. And because I have a negative out in front, I'm just going to carry along that negative out in front. Okay. All right, let's do the same thing for this one here. So there's a negative on the inside, so I already know I'm going to have an I. Now, when I think about 24, so guys, remember, the square root means you're grouping in terms of pairs, right? Like, why was the square root of 25 5? Because 25 is 5 and 5. There's a pair of them, right? So I can do the same thing here. I can take 24 and I can say, look, this is 2 and 12. And this is 2 and 6. And this is 2 and 3. And I'm going to say, okay, well, what number do I have a pair of? Well, look, we got a pair of 2s. So that 2 is going to come on the outside. What numbers did not get paired up? These guys right here. That 2 and that 3 didn't get paired up. So I have to put them back inside the square root. They're going to get multiplied. And that's going to give me a 6. So I got 2I square root of 6. All right. So let's take a look-see here at the next one. We got the square root of -5 and the square root of -2. So before I start multiplying, I need to simplify these parts first. Meaning, because there's a negative on the inside, I got to take out that I. Same thing here. There's a negative on the inside, I got to take out that I. Okay. So the next thing we're going to say is, well, look, we're going to multiply the i's together. That's going to give us I squared. And then we can multiply the numbers on the inside. So 5 and 2 is going to give me 10. And then, guys, I'm going to just kind of do a quick scroll over here because I want us to remember, what is I squared equal to? I squared is equal to -1, right? So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to say, well, look, this is now a -1. So that's just going to give me a negative square root of 10. Okay. And I'm going to do this next part exactly the same way. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to say, look, this is I times the square root of 7. This is I times the square root of 3. And then we're going to go ahead and multiply. I and I is going to give us I squared. And 7 and 3 is going to give us 21. Okay. And so I squared is equal to a -1. And -1 square root of 21 just looks like that. Okay, so I'm going to keep moving along, but I got to ask you all a question. Is what we're doing so far, is this making any sense? Oops. Yeah, we're doing okay so far? Yeah. Okay. So, guys, the one thing I really want to emphasize is when something doesn't make sense, don't feel shy, don't feel embarrassed. I want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable asking me questions. So we're like, if something that I did didn't work, I want you to say, sir, can you go over that again? And I'm more than happy to go over that again, okay? I would much rather you ask me so that we can clear it up than you be sitting at home later on and like, I don't know what's going on. I didn't understand this or I didn't understand that. And if you feel more comfortable, guys, message me saying, sir, I didn't understand this part. Can you go over it again? I'm happy to do that as well, okay? All right, so let's keep going along here a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so at the beginning, how come you only branched out some numbers but not others? So let's see. Anthony, were you referring to this one right here? The 50 one? This one here. So let me see. Yeah, okay. So excellent question. So remember, like I said, remember what it is we're doing. We're trying to break down the square root of 50. So think about it this way. When we had the square root of negative 50, right? The way I did it is I said, well, look, there's a negative, so let's write down the I. And then I said 50 was 25 and 2. And I'm still taking the square roots here. I knew this one here was the 5, right? So I said, look, let's just write it as 5i squared to 2. But I could have done this as well. So we said, look, there's a negative on the inside, so let's bring out the I. Now, 50. 50, I know, is 25 and 2, and 25 is 5 and 5. So what do we have a pair of? We got a pair of 5s. Which one do I not have a pair of? The 2 and the I, since we took it out, was right there. But yes, you can definitely do that, right? You can definitely do that. So the reason why I had stopped right here is because I said, well, you know what? I know what the square root of 25 is. I know that one is 5. I don't necessarily need to break it down, but it definitely helps when you do that because then you get to see all those pairs. So very good question. Excellent. Oops. Oh, let's see here. Let me move this back. Okay. All right. So let's try this next one here. And sorry about the spacing, guys. Sometimes it just kind of gets thrown off sometimes. I had all these problems in Word, and then when I transferred them to Google Docs, the spacing kind of got thrown off a little bit. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. First thing I see a negative, right? So I know the I is going to come out. Second thing I see is the square root of 36. Well, I know what the square root of 36 is, right? The square root of 36 is a 6. And same thing for this part. I see a negative, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out an I. And the next thing I see is 4. Well, I know what the square root of 4 is, right? Square root of 4 is 2. So now we can go ahead and multiply. 6 times 2 is going to give us 12. I and I is going to give us I squared. And then remember, I squared is the same thing as negative 1. So this just makes this into a negative 12. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the next one here. First thing I'm going to do, y'all, I see a negative on the inside. So I'm going to write out my I. I'm not going to simplify this thing just yet. I'm going to write it as one big square root as the square root of 9 over 3. Because they're both square roots, I can go ahead and write it as one big square root. And then the second thing I'm going to go ahead and do is, well, 9 divided by 3 is just. So we'll stop right there. Okay. Same thing for this next one. First thing I see a negative on the top, so I'm going to take out an I. I see a negative on the bottom, so I'm also going to take out an I. And let me get my eraser because I made this too much. Okay. And then I'm going to write one big square root of 40 over 8. Okay. So first off, this I and this I are going to cancel. And 8 goes into 40 5 times, and I can't break down the square root of 5, right? I just can't do it. So that part will stay right there. All right. So the next couple of problems here say, let's do the addition and the subtraction. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, guys, when we're adding and subtracting complex numbers, all we're really doing here, y'all, is combining like terms, okay? So look, 1 and negative 6. If I have $1, but I owe you 6 because it's negative, now I owe you 5, right? And 8i and 3i is just going to give me 11. So all we're really doing here, y'all, is just combining like terms, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at the next one. I'm asked, now we're going to subtract complex numbers. So because I'm subtracting, I'm going to think of this right here as a negative 1 so I can distribute my minus sign. And so I'm going to this piece alone, I'm just going to write it as 6 minus 2i. And then negative 1 times 3 is a minus 3. Negative 1 times a negative 5 is a positive 5 with an I. Okay. And then now let's go ahead and combine them. So 6 minus 3 is 3. And a minus 2i and a plus 5i is just a plus 3i, right? Okay. And let's take a look at the next one here. So I have 3 minus 4i minus negative 2 minus 18i. So again, I'm going to think of this as a negative 1, and I'm going to distribute that part. So this guy, I'm just going to write it down again. 3 minus 4i. So negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2. And negative 1 times a negative 18i is a positive 18i. And so now let's combine these. 3 and 2 is going to give us 5. And a minus 4i and a plus 18i is going to give me a plus 14. Okay. And so, like I said, right here, all we're really doing is just combining like terms, right? We're just combining like terms here. So, guys, before I go on to the next part, let's do this. So, let me see. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing that screen with you guys for 1 second. And let's see. Here we go. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm sharing the screen where we have our assignments in my lab. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and click on the first one, which is 7.7. And I want us to go through just a couple of problems here so we can kind of get the idea of what it is I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to click on question number 1. It does actually open it up in a new tab, in a new window. So let me share that with you all so y'all can see that. All right, here we go. And, okay. So I want y'all to notice down here at the bottom, guys, the fourth one has that little letter I, right? That's where I'm gonna access my I. So on the inside, I see a negative. So I already know I need to put an I. My question to you guys, does anybody know what is the square root of 144? If you know it, can you just throw it in the chat box? You know what the square root of 100? There you go. 12, perfect. Excellent, guys. So look, what we're going to do right here, y'all, I'm going to type in 12. So my answer is 12i. I'm going to go chickadee check. We got it. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so I see a negative on the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to write down my I. So look, my I is right over here. So there's my I. Okay, my second question to you guys, can we take the square root of negative 5, I'm sorry, the square root of 5, can we break down that number 5? No, right? Okay, awesome. So what am I going to do? I'm going to leave the square root of 5 alone. Guys, I want you to notice I left my I in front. The reason I did that, I don't want the I to be inside the square root. Remember, the I is really coming outside the square root, so that's why I kind of put the I first. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go check my answer. Awesome. Okay, all right. So I'll tell you what, on this one here, we know we're going to have an I, right? So I'm going to put that there. And then what I'm going to do real quick, y'all, is, let me see. Let's stop sharing this screen real quick, and we're going to share one more. Okay, so the problem that we had was the square root of negative 180. So we already know we're going to have an I, right? So now let's take 180. And let's see if we can, yes, let's see if we can break this down. 180. So I know that 180 is going to be something like, oh, I don't know, 18 and 10, right? And how you break up the number, guys, it's not really important as long as you break it up correctly. All right, so then I might say, look, this is 2 and 9. This is 3 and 3. This is 2 and 5. So look, we have a pair of 3s. So 3 is going to come outside. We have a pair of 2s. So a 2 is going to come outside. Now remember, I'm not using these numbers because we broke them down, right? So the only other number we have is the 5. So the 5 is going to stay inside. So now when we multiply this right here, we're going to end up with 6i and the square root of 5, right? So let me stop sharing that part. And let me come back to my assignment. And so we said here, we were going to have 6i and then the square root of 5. Okay. And we're going to check our answer. And we got it, right? Okay. So I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit, y'all. I'm just kind of trying to give y'all a little bit of exposure. Okay, so here we go. This is asking me my complex numbers together. So let's go ahead and do this one here. So 4 plus 7, I know that's going to give me 11. Anybody know what's a minus 6i and a plus 4i? Anybody know minus 6i plus 4i, negative 2i? Awesome, good. Awesome, good, excellent, guys. Y'all are doing great here. Okay, so we're going to put a minus 2, and then don't forget the I. Right there, check it, and we got it. Okay, good. So I just wanted to kind of go through this, guys. I wanted to kind of get an idea of where you guys were in terms of you know, how much of this stuff you've had experience with. But I'm glad that this is really making sense, because that's kind of the whole point, right? Okay, so let me do excuse me, let me do a little bit more. So I want to just kind of keep working here. Now, guys, the one thing I want to mention before I go on, everything here, the way I'm talking you through the process, right? I can't see you guys, right? I know that you're there because I see your names on the list, but I can't actually see you. But I'm talking to you as if we were in the classroom and I could see all your faces. So the one thing I really want to mention is in my lab, on my videos, I do the same thing. When I made those videos, excuse me, when I made those videos, I made it with the intention that I was talking to a group of you guys there, okay? So I talk you through the process to kind of help you, excuse me, to kind of help you, you know, go through understanding exactly what it is we're doing, okay? So let me see. Let's take a look at the next one here. And again, the directions say multiply and write the product in the form a plus bi. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and multiply. So a negative 10i times a negative 4i. Well, a negative times a negative, we know is positive. That's positive 40. I and I is I squared. And then we said I squared was negative 1. So this is just going to give me a negative 4, right? And I'm going to do the same thing here. So negative 2i, negative 11i. Well, negative and negative is positive. That's 22. I and I is going to give us an I squared. So this is 22 times negative 1. That's just a negative 22, right? Okay. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little. All right. So the next one here is 6i times 2 minus 3i. So we'll go ahead and multiply 1 and 2. So 6i times 2, that's going to give me a 12i. And 6i times minus 3i, that should give me a minus 18i squared. And then we said I squared was negative 1. So a negative 18 times a negative 1 is a positive 18. Now, guys, the one thing I'm going to do here, if you notice, excuse me, the directions tell me to write it in the form a plus bi. All that means is they want the imaginary part coming second. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rewrite this. So I'm going to write it as 18 plus 12i. Okay. All righty. And let's do the same thing right here. So look, 5i times 4, that's going to give me a 20i. 5i times negative 7i is a negative 35i squared. And then we said I squared is negative 1. So now I have 20i. A negative and a negative is a positive 35. And then again, because they're asking us to write it in that form, a plus bi, I'm just going to kind of switch these two around. So I'll write it as 35 plus 20i, right? Okay. So let's see. Let's keep going along here. So I'm going to do this next one. 2 and 4 is 8. Let's see. 2 times a plus I is a plus 2i. Negative 5i and 4 is a minus 20i. And then a negative 5i and a plus I is a minus 5 and an I squared. Okay. And so now we're going to go ahead and combine these together. So we're going to have an 8. Let's see, 2i minus 20i, that's a minus 18i. And then remember we said I squared was a negative 1. And this part right here, y'all, becomes a plus 5. And then we can just add those together to give us a 13 and a minus 18i, right? All right. So guys, this next problem is, this one here is just the same as one we did. So I'm going to go ahead and skip it for right now. If we have time, I'll come back and do it. But I definitely want to do this one here. And the main reason I want to do this one is it's just a common mistake people make. Remember what it means to square something? This means to write it down 2 times, right? Excuse me. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to get a little bit of water. Okay, I'm back. All right, so let's go ahead and try to do this next one here. All right, so 3 and 3 is going to give me 9, and that's a minus 3i. So we already used this one. This is another minus 3i, and now this is a negative I squared. So we can go ahead and combine these guys together to give us a 9, a minus 6i, sorry about that, minus, remember we said I squared was negative 1, and negative 1 is a positive 1, and then when I add these together, that's 10 minus 6i, right? Okay. So I definitely want to at least do 2 of these here where we have to divide complex numbers, guys, just because I want to make sure you all have some experience with this. And maybe you already do, I'm not certain, but I'm going to walk you through at least these next 2 here. Okay, so when we're going to divide complex numbers, we actually do this by multiplying by something that we call the conjugate, okay? The conjugate means we're going to look at the bottom part. And if it's a 4 plus 3i, we're going to multiply it by a 4 minus 3i, both on the top and on the bottom, okay? And so all I'm going to do is just, I got to multiply a couple of times, but we'll go ahead and do that. So let's do the top first. So 7 times 4, I know that's 28, and that's a minus 21, oops, with an I, okay? Now let's do the bottom part. So 4 and 4 is 16. That's a minus 12i. This is a plus 12i. And this is a minus 9i squared. So we have 28 minus 21 with an I. Okay. Now we're going to fix the bottom part. So guys, notice a minus 12i and a plus 12i are going to cancel out. So this is going to give me 16 minus 9 times negative 1. Okay. And so I'm going to have 28 minus 21 with an I. And let's see, this right here is going to become positive, so 16 plus 9. Okay. So this is 28 minus 21 with an I. all over 25. Now, I told y'all earlier, they asked us to write it in the form a plus bi. So all I'm going to do here, y'all, I'm going to separate the fraction. I'm going to write this as 28 over 25 minus 21 over 25 with an I. And all that's doing is that's telling me, like, this is my letter A right here, and that fraction is my letter B. Okay. So let's see. I want to make sure that we're good. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing this screen real quick with y'all because we are almost out of time. And I'm going to do this part. Okay. So we went through most of 7.7, right? And you guys know where you can find the assignments. So guys, the idea is, our class session, we're about to end in the next couple of minutes, about, 5 minutes, whatever it is. Just because we're going to log off as a group doesn't mean that you need to stop doing your work, right? So the idea here is, if you haven't yet done, say, your assignment for 7.7, I would definitely encourage you, knock that one out of the way, okay? Get it done just so that you're already done with that assignment. And I can see some of you, awesome. So Priscilla, you've already knocked out a whole bunch of them. Kaylee, Aaron, you guys, Amanda, you guys have already done 7.7. So this is probably really easy for you. And some of you have already done 1.4 and stuff. But again, the idea here, guys, is we've done that first section. If you haven't yet completed it, then now you know that you can get started on it. You can do 7.7. If you got some time, knock out 1.4 and 1.5, right? You can really do as much or as little as you want. And again, my recommendation is the more that you do, it's better for you to finish, to get done earlier than to be waiting till the last minute, right? And so I'm going to make this up. So if one of you messages me, right, say Thursday, and says, hey, sir, I've already completed all the assignments. Is there a possibility that I can get started on week 2? I'll probably set up week 2 that day. And I'll probably have week 2 set up, guys, probably by Thursday anyway, okay? And it's not that it's not that you need to get started on week 2, but if you've done the stuff for week 1 and you want to kind of get ahead, you'll be able to do that, okay? So I really just kind of wanted to mention that stuff, that those are things that you guys can do. And again, it's always better to stay a little bit ahead. And I know a lot of you, like y'all were telling me, this is your first experience with an online class here at STC. So you're really just going to be watching the video, following along, and then let me go do that assignment. So you really want to, it's just better if you get a little bit, for you to get a little bit ahead than it is for you to, fall behind, okay? So let's see. Now that we've kind of done that, do y'all have any questions y'all want to ask me about anything? I want to make sure that you guys were good. And I was kind of trying to show you a whole bunch of things to give you an understanding of what it is we do, or what it is y'all need to do. But I want to make sure that you guys feel okay with what it is y'all need to do now. About anything? Yeah, you guys feel okay? All right. So guys, like I said, just because we're going to log off doesn't mean that y'all need to stop doing your assignments. And you can do them anytime you want, right? YouTube is up 24/7. My lab is up 24/7. So if you want to do this at 3 in the morning, that's fine. If you want to do this as soon as we log off, that's fine as well. And again, if y'all have questions, sir, I got stuck on this one, message me. Send me a picture of the problem. I'll make a video. I'll send it out. And, I have my office hours, guys, right? So if you message me tonight at, 9 o'clock or whatever, or you message me at 3 in the morning, and you can, guys, because I keep my Pronto app, I keep it on my iPad, and I don't take my iPad with me when I go to bed, right? So you message me on my iPad, that's fine. And I'll just get back to you when I have my office hours, you know what I mean? So anyway, I hope y'all found today's session helpful, and y'all got any questions, let me know. And I guess I will see you guys next Tuesday morning. Next Tuesday is the first thing we'll do, because all the assignments will be due Tuesday night. The first thing I'll do is I'll say, hey, did anybody have any questions on the homework that you haven't had a chance to ask me? And we'll go over a few problems. And then once we do that, I'll kind of cover a little bit of new material, okay? But again, I just want to kind of give you guys a little more structure, because the thing with an online class is it's really entirely up to you on when you want to do your assignments and when you want to do your work. And the experience that I had, especially more in the spring semester than I did last fall, was a lot of people just kind of had a hard time finding the motivation, like, okay, today I'm going to do algebra. There was not a lot of people that decided they wanted to do that. I don't blame them. But when we had these class sessions, they would log in, and then as soon as we would log off, a lot of them would keep working. They would tell me, sir, I used to do mine on Monday nights, and they would say, sir, after you log off, I stay online for like another 4 hours, and I'm able to knock a bunch of assignments out. So they found that pretty helpful, and that was kind of my intent with all of this today. All right, so I've done a whole lot of talking, and I'm going to stop talking now because I've done a lot of it. But guys, I just wanted to say, glad y'all were here this morning. I hope all of this was helpful. I'm going to